24/7. 24/7.
Bold Moves Radio.
Bold Moves Radio.
Afrika nakupenda sana. Oh, Afrika nakupenda sana. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mandla MABUNDA, and I'm happy to be back again on the African Experience. And today, unfortunately, guys, I'm on my own. My co-host, Dr. Hlami, is out there traveling the world. I believe she's Indonesia somewhere. So, that's how we do on this show. We go around and we're getting experiences and we bring them back. Today, we have a powerhouse. Today's show is promising to be because not only food, guys, we are talking indigenous foods. How fitting is that topic? Because we are talking African. We need to go back to our roots, appreciate and make fashionable that which is our own, including our food. So this guest is a powerhouse. Woman is a professor, is the head of the human science department in of ZULULAND. She will take us through her journey. So I urge you, ladies and gentlemen, to sit back, let's learn. We are in this show.
Good evening, Mandla. Good evening, listeners. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you this evening.
Thank you, Asa. I know you're a busy woman. So we literally don't take it for this opportunity. So like our listeners, a bit about Prof. Unathi to our listeners.
Okay, listeners, Sanibonani Dumelang Aksheng. This lady is coming from King Williamstown, the Eastern Cape. That's where I was born. And then I am actually a daughter and the firstborn of 2 teachers. Very, very important that I mention this about teachers, because my career, I never wanted to be in this field of lecturing nor teaching, but I found myself here. That is why I think it is a calling. So I am a partner and I have a son who is celebrating his birthday today. And I am, yes, he is turning 11. So this day of heritage is quite significant to me, because I remember when I went to the doctor in the Eastern Cape, because according to culture, you have to go and give birth your firstborn at your own home. So I visited the doctor. The doctor's like, okay, I can see that you need to pop up now, but please, can you wait? Can we have the holiday and then you come back after the holiday? And that's how he was born. But this is who I am. I am Ijwahagazi Umtika Umazaleni. That is my clan. So I'm from the Eastern Cape. Yes, Mandla, thanks.
No, it's a beautiful, very proud African, and that's how we like it. So we have to talk about the show. Ready is to how you are as an how you take your place on this earth, and we are hoping us learning about your journey and your story. There is an African out there who will be inspired. If we can even have a conversation, then we will do job. So without much further ado, let's get on. We are having with the professional things and business to add on the will come personal to us, but then you tell us what is and how you want to and Prof. Unathi. So know you are a professor and we have heard about this at the end, which is where we achieve it. And do you want?
Thank you so much. Yes, you are my student from the University of KwaZulu-Natal. All right, let me start with this one. You know, most of the time when people they coming from overseas, they don't differentiate between University of Zululand and University of KwaZulu-Natal. But then maybe to simplify it, University of KwaZulu-Natal is more urban, while the University of Zululand is more rural based. So when I started my career, let me just share with you. I said I am a child from teachers, and I never really wanted to be a lecturer. But then let me take you back how I grew up, or maybe the type of person I was. Yes, I was an achiever at school, and I will always hold the position. During our time, we had position 1, position 2, and so forth. So I was one of those people who used to compete with my male colleagues. Then when I passed my matric, something happened. I did not do very well, and then I had to go back and improve my results. So I am starting with that to show that failure does not determine who you are going to be tomorrow. So I had to go and repeat, and then I then went to University of Western Cape to do human ecology, a 4-year degree. And what is interesting is that when I arrived at University of Western Cape, I was the one who now was the last one. Remember now, all those people that I was studying with, they were now doing their final year because I failed, and then I had to go and do my first year. So I was now doing first year what they are doing their last year. So that was a lesson of life, number one, that don't think that you will always be excelling. You must always have that room for disappointment and just go down, and then you puff yourself up and then move on, because some of my peers, they never made it, but I was one of those who were fortunate enough. I got a support from my family to actually move on and progress in life, even though it was not easy, because during that year, those years when I had failed and I had to go back home, I suffered from depression. I could not sleep. So it's one of those things that make one. And then after finishing my 4-year degree, you know, when you are in class, it's one of those opportunities again. I remember when I graduated, I left the University of Western Cape and I received a call after we just graduated, maybe about 3 months. And then this call was coming from Northwest University. And then from Northwest University, I was being offered what? An opportunity to do my postgraduate studies, my master's. And this is where now I got the aspiration to actually pursue my postgraduate to PhD. Remember, in our homes, even if you have learned fellows, at times we don't talk about beyond just your degree. Then I went, right, studied, and then finished. Then a position comes from the University of UKZN. And then I was told by one of my supervisors, hey, there's a position there for a lecturer. I'm like, no, not me. Then something to myself, when I went back to my office, said, just apply, you know. Then I applied. That's how I got to the University of KwaZulu-Natal. So I lectured at the University of KwaZulu-Natal for almost 10 years. And let me tell you something about me. When I was being interviewed, one of the questions that I was asked was, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And then because I wasn't sure what I was supposed to say, I always make this a joke. I said, I see myself as a businesswoman. And then the chair sort of said, hey, Anne, you okay, let me rephrase the question. Then that's when I actually said, you know what? Oh, okay, I want to be a professor. And you know what? 10 years exactly, the University of Zululand advertised, and that's how I landed to be a professor. And then when I left the University of KwaZulu-Natal, I had now applied to be a research fellow at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. So they are paying me 1 cent, but I am making a big change in people's lives because so far I have graduated, co-supervised and supervised about 15 PhDs, and most of those are women.
Oh my word, what a story. Ladies and gentlemen, you can just hear from her passion that this is a person who has realized what their purpose is. And this is someone who's running after their purpose with all they have. And you know, Prof, your passion, I must tell you, your passion is tangible. And when one speaks to you, you can't help but want to be, you know, the best that you can ever be. And that's what, for me personally, you do. And I commend you so much for that. So you can see that all of us have got our story, coming born from teachers and, you know, giving birth, and everyone is on a journey. And it's so nice to meet someone who seems to know the course of their journey and they're really running after that with a passion. But now let's come back to choose consumer. Some people will say, no, this, it called me. What made you choose consumer studies?
It's the truth. It chose me, like I was saying. For me, I started with the food technology. That's where I learned my lesson of life, which is failure. But you know what? That's where you take your failure, you change it to become a success. So consumer sciences is one of the most important career path, which I think is underestimated and undervalued. This is the course where we learn about consumer behavior. As you are sitting there, you are a consumer yourself. So it's very important for us to understand that what is in the market is actually influenced by our own demand, by our own culture, identity, and what we think is a want or what we think is a need. So this is where now the career in consumer behavior becomes very important. And in our degree, we also talk about the sustainable livelihoods as well as resource management, which I think is another important component that needs to be taught to our children who are still growing up. And then so that we can instill our culture as well as the way of life while they are still young. Because I think when we teach it at the university, it's already too late. They don't really value their interaction with the environment, which in the nowadays they call it sustainability. It's just a fancy word, which I mean, in our tradition, we're used to value the interaction between human and the environment. So that is it in a nutshell.
It's interesting, right? And we are sustainable livelihood. In your experience, what are the current trends around, especially when we talk happening, specifically we talk to Africans. What is, and what do you wish we could be aspiring to?
Thank you so much, Mandla. Let us start, Mandla, with the influence of what we call nutrition transition, right? Where we have shifted from what we used to eat and how we used to interact with our environment so that we can live the quality of life. I am saying this because we always paint a dark picture about our traditional staple or diets, and we never really looked at them in a positive eye. You know what? I think this is where now we see that the food environment that we are exposed to as consumers has actually now be the fundamental cause of the sicknesses and the diseases that we're exposed to. What we find in our shops is what actually is now leading to the non-communicable diseases. What we access in our shops is the result of what we call hidden hunger. The way of life of now being lazy, not doing much after we have eaten the food, it's leading to the obesity that we are observing amongst especially women as well as our children as the vulnerable group. In the olden days, we used to appraise, be happy when people are gaining weight, but nowadays it's no longer something that we need to appreciate. It is a symptom of food and nutrition insecurity. So this is where now I find that we have actually not living a healthy life because we have shied away from our own food diets, which I think we need to start looking and reviewing what is it that we can take from that basket and the diets that we used to eat in the olden days. That is why I'm so passionate about advocating for indigenous foods and traditional diets, because we need to start surrounding ourselves or being exposed to the food environment that is promoting healthy life and active life.
Wow. Yo, that is a mouthful. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a show you don't want to miss. We are talking to none other than the food space, especially the none other than from the University of Zululand. When we come back, talk more about the other side of your profession. We'll talk more about this woman and the initiatives that you are currently busy with. And on that note, we are going to take a break. Sit back, relax, and don't go away. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back, welcome back. The show is The African Experience with myself, Mandla Wakamabunda. Today I'm without my co-host who has gone somewhere in the world, changing the world as we like to do in this show. Today's guest, ladies and gentlemen, is a powerhouse. I'm talking to a very passionate, God-fearing woman who would like to make a difference in what we do. And you know, in this show, we're very passionate about anything agriculture, agro-processing, and how we can benefit as Africans. You know, Prof, before we went on the break, we said we are going to come back and chat about Prof. Unathi as a businesswoman. Please take us through some of the business initiatives that you're currently having.
Thank you very much. I must say first, when you say it's a calling, then you actually now accepting a responsibility. So for me, I look at and identify myself as a social entrepreneur.
Yes.
When you are involved in social entrepreneurship, you do not look at profit making, but your focus is on how to contribute towards bringing positive change. So what I'm going to be saying here as a business is actually linked to that space of being a social entrepreneur. And then I will link it to what I do on a daily basis at my workplace with my colleagues. First of all, being a social entrepreneur it means that I have linked myself to two foundations. One is Nare Foundation, which is named after my son, and it is a research foundation that was established by my partner during COVID-19. You see, one of the things that one needs to do, you need to have a support system. So in my house, because I love my work, it's my ministry. So he had to understand and find a system to also be part of what I do. And this is what he did, was to now establish the Nare Research Foundation, which is actually a platform where people who are pursuing their postgraduate studies, they find peace, they find an environment for engagement, and they learn wisdom and find friends that they can walk the journey with. Because we know when you are persuading these postgraduate studies, it's usually a lonely journey because nobody really understands. So we have find this space so that people can have a better journey towards finishing their postgraduate studies. So that is one. While we were at it, we identified that, you know what, there is food and nutrition insecurity amongst our communities. And most of the time, the interventions that are being given, they are facing or resolving issues around food. And but there is some kind of a neglect or less attention on the clothing, while the food as well as the clothing, including the shelter, they are the basic needs as stated by Maslow. So in this space, we actually now have starting a food, not a food, a clothing bank, where we are actually asking people to donate not torn and old clothes, but clothes that you are not using, so that we can share with those who are vulnerable and poor who cannot buy these clothes for themselves. So we have started this initiative just a year ago, and it's doing very well. People are so appreciative, and I know so many stories where people got clothing items just to go for interviews. So another foundation that we are actually working close with is the Linzwa Foundation. It is a soup kitchen that is looking after the vulnerable, again, that the women who are suffering from the GBV, the children who are orphans, as well as the young people whom are drug addicts that are now recovering from such. So we have worked with Linzwa Foundation, also with regards to what we call Sipilaganje. Sipilaganje is a concept of now saying, can we showcase who we are, how we live through a concept of a garden? So it doesn't have to be a garden per se that we are planting, but we say, let us plant some kind of a seed, whether it's about you give motivational talks into these foundations such as Linzwa, but give something so that at least we can grow our country into a better country. Remember, if we don't plant that seed, what is going to happen? Because if we've got more paras, then that means we're putting our lives at risk. So it's under the principle of Ubuntu. So those are the two social entrepreneurship that I am also contribute towards. And then at my workplace, I have powerful house there, a wonderful woman, a wonderful team, because I think about 90% of my department is women. And you know what? What is interesting? We are not even practicing or even know what is that principle of pull head down syndrome. When I go to my workplace, I go to a family. those women, they are pull her up because the vision that we share it together and we support each other. That is why when I came to the university in 2016, when we said we are going to be introducing and promoting the indigenous foods, everybody listened to the vision and then they accepted it and internalized it. As a result, in our department, for the past 7 years I've been heading the department, we have now really created a very good ground for food innovation, which is something that most of the people in my department are sharing the same passion with me. So we are now involved in these innovation items. The first one prototype that we have is a biscuit and amara and a rusk, which is made from ututu, or others they know it as imbuya. So amaranthus in other countries, they usually use the grain to make food products. So they will make your cereals and the baked products. But in our Southern Africa, we are not familiar in consuming the grain part. We are more comfortable with the leaves. So we thought, all right, so what do we do with these leaves? Then we actually visited Limpopo, and maybe let me just say, one of my friends went overseas and she's from Limpopo, and she actually identified that there were amaranthus leaves that were canned, and she brought that canned amaranthus back to South Africa. And that is what sparked my first interest in saying, if they've got this preserved, why can't we have a similar kind in our own country? So we sort of adopted what is being practiced in the Limpopo province, because every other province now has shied away from the consumption of the indigenous foods, except the Limpopo province. So we tried to adopt that idea, and then we say, okay, for these provinces who have now moved away, can we try to present it in a different way? Because one of the cries was that there's monotony in the preparation and the presentation of the indigenous foods, other than not being accessible from the formal markets.
Wow. Were many hats. Out of I haven't even that I have 5 that you are busy with. How do you balance it all? People want to know, how do you balance being a mother? You know, how do you bring a foundation? What you guys do foundation? How do you use also that is waiting for love your content, how we get hiding for not being good. So it's very nice to hear. But tell us, how do you?
First of all, I think we need to acknowledge that you cannot do it if you have human power. It has to be the higher powers. So that is the first acknowledgement. You cannot just do it by yourself. And then secondly, it is your family. The family that you have, you need to make sure that they understand the vision and the aspirations. There was one a person that I was talking to, and he wanted to do his postgraduate, and then I said to him, go back to the drawing board, go back and ask yourself, what is it that you want to achieve, so that you can be able to communicate your vision and your aspirations to your immediate family. So I don't want to lie, a lot of encouragement, even if they don't understand what I'm doing from my family. They are my number one cheerleaders. So my family, including my mother, my aunt, and my cousins, they're like, oh, okay, you go, girl. So that is quite encouraging. And then you have your partner who needs to always be your number one cheerleader, no matter what. So if they give you the space to actually be you, because I think for me, it was one of the tick boxes when I met him, when he said, I do not want to change who you are. So put yourself first, and then you can now take us with you wherever you go. So for me, that was fundamental because it gave me freedom and liberty to be myself. So I know that I'm celebrated at home. So I think that is very, very important. And then you also sit down with your child and tell them, you know, why you are doing what you do. And my boy will be always say, Mama, are you a celebrity? Then I'll say, okay, what does that mean? It says, Mama, because you are on the news, you know, article, newspaper article, and then I can Google you. Therefore, you are a celebrity if I can do all those things. Then I say, yes, my child, I am a celebrity. So I mean, those are the kind of support systems that one needs, you need, so that you can grow the wings. But let me tell you something. These wings, they can be clapped if you don't have a support from your workplace and your immediate community that you engage with. For example, you know, with at work, when I'm saying I work with great women, I am not exaggerating. These are the women who understand my vision, like my aspiration. And then they say, okay, how can we lift you up? And when you actually do that to the person who actually has that vision, you actually now creating space for to lift up others. So that's how we do it in my department. They say, we lift you because you can see you are a giraffe where we cannot see. So let us now ride on your back so that we can also see the world that you are seeing. So I think with that kind of a support, where you have your apostles, you know, who are your colleagues, then I'm telling you, you can never fail. And I'm telling you another one, recognition from your workplace also gives you that strength to keep on doing good, not to be tired, and always to occupy that space so that you can make a difference into one's life.
Oh, wow. You know, that's a mouthful, Prof. I always just enjoy sitting back and listening to you. And guess what? I'm not the only one. I see from our feeds here, Mr. Mark Anthony is saying, you know what? Unathi is really enjoying her freedom. You know, even your passion is coming through. And I see we have our usuals. Takan Mabasa saying, good evening, a great show. Ngami Mangani. So people are really learning. And I hope, you know, they are taking something. They are taking something that they're going to apply in their lives. We need to go for a short break. And when we come back, we are going to talk about the theme, BUMNANDI BEMVELO. What does it mean to you when you say that and when you chose this theme? So let's go on an ad break, and then DJ Mercy, you'll prepare some pictures for us as we're talking about the theme, and then she'll take us through that. Let's go for a short break.
Are you ready for the ultimate dietary powerhouse? Look no further than Masana Dietitian's Nutro Boost. Our scientifically formulated low GI food is designed to give you the boost you need to fuel your body and reach your health goals. With Nutro Boost, you have the flexibility to enjoy it as a high fiber cereal or a satisfying shake. Simply mix it with water and indulge in the mouth-watering flavors that we have to offer. But that's not all. NutriBoost is packed with essential nutrients that are beneficial for your overall well-being. Enriched with 20 immune-boosting vitamins and minerals, it's a convenient and effective way to support your immune system. And here's the best part. NutriBoost is gluten-free, egg-free, and high in omega-3, making it suitable for those with dietary restrictions or allergies. Need an energy boost? NutriBoost has you covered. It's high in energy and protein, providing you with the fuel you need to power through your day. Whether it's a busy morning or an intense workout session, say goodbye to midday slumps and hello to sustained energy with NutriBoost. Try today and experience the difference. For orders or to become a distributor, contact us on the following details.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm enjoying my chat with my professor, who's also my course supervisor at the university. So it's quite interesting. And, before we went on an ad break, we said we are going to talk about the theme, which is BUMNANDI BEMVELO. Prof, please take us through that theme. Why that? Why are you so passionate about that? And when you are talking to us about that, please link us to the products that you have. Are they in the market? Are we able to access them? How does one get involved in the value chain of the products that you currently have?
Thank you so much, and congratulations, Manda, because at least your products are already on the market. Mandla BUMNANDI BEMVELO is one of the concepts where we are actually promoting our identity. We have seen the gap that our foods are not on the formal markets. And one of my push factors is the question that I was asked by one of my students who is now a doctor, that is Dr. Zuma. Zuma. He was a student at the university and he asked me a very good question. He said, every time when we are doing our thesis, writing our thesis, there is always this last part, to enhance or to improve food and nutrition security. Then he says to me, but when are we actually going to see this food security on our plates or on the shelves? So that pushed me a lot to actually say, something needs to be done. And I must say, the other time we had a Gogo Ko, who is a indigenous knowledge expert. She is now late. May her soul rest in peace. Gogo Ko is one of those women who was pushing and promoting the consumption of these foods. So I could not even take it because she was really pushy. So this is where we started now to say, can we interface our tradition with the future? Why are we saying this? It's because, unfortunately, our palates have actually changed and we prefer certain types of food. However, we need to make sure that we are now living a healthy life. So how do we do that? We said, let us start bringing these two worlds together. Remember, some of our processes, such as fermentation, these are the processes that also promoted your healthy gut. And now we actually purchase this while they were less costly during that time of our mothers and fathers. So the food innovations that are actually being done in the department by the lecturers who have the passion and are experts as well with our students, they include what my other colleague, Dr. Karina Palmer, is now doing, the sorghum and cowpea breakfast cereals. We have the buckwheat, what you call it, breakfast bar. We have Amahewu. I don't know if you all know. Yes, those are the the chocolate buckwheat, so that at least when you are indulging, now indulge on healthy chocolate that are also indigenous. I don't know if you come to KwaZulu-Natal, you also want to experience KwaZulu-Natal, and that's the experience on its own. So we also have Amahewu that are made from SEM. So our students are actually busy with those. Yes, they are quite actually busy with Amahewu from SEM, and these Amahewu from SEM now we are trying to add the nutritional value onto them. So we've got very interesting flavors that we have developed, and today I was tasting them. We've got peanuts that mahewu flavored. We have chili seeds mahewu flavored. We have your custard and your amaranthus flavored. So look out on the space. You are going to be surprised.
Wow.
And then we also have I think you showed something there, the shake, that a smoothie that we also make from jugo beans. Yes, that is a protein shake because it's made from the jugo beans. It's quite tasty. So when you take it, because it also has banana, I'm telling you, you will just be right.
Oh, wow.
So this is what we are trying to say. Can we bring a new face into the indigenous foods and then be the leaders, just like Kenya? Kenya is doing wonders. Can we be just right behind Kenya? But we need to make sure that we are serving the current consumer or the market, because they've got different needs, and that's what we are trying to appeal while we are serving nutritious foods. So we are saying, let us take pride of the flavors that are natural. And this is where we say BUMNANDI BEMVELO. It means let us enjoy. As you can see the picture there, it's me enjoying that BUMNANDI BEMVELO, the flavors, because this is what keeps us well. You can ask yourself, why were people, when they were having umcimbi or events, when they've eaten fatty meat, they drink umqombothi, the African beer. That is a science on its own. Go and do your research, and you'll find that there was a fundamental reason why, in which now we are not looking at it and understanding it.
Yeah. Wow, Prof, you know what? This is mind blowing. I mean, the amount of products that we have already. All we need to do is to now, you know what, go back to having African solutions by Africans. This is not something that is coming from your Americas or anywhere else.
No.
It's homegrown. And if we can start embracing it and start going back to amasiko wetu, you'll find that we are really, we don't lack anything. We have all the solutions in our hands. And I see the lines now with the pictures. People are going crazy. Dr. Mamkateko Mabunda say, wow, Prof, this is so impressive. Samantha Kwena, she's like, Prof, you're an inspiration indeed, a social entrepreneur, a giver, and I agree with all that. You know, Prof, when it comes to this, you see, now when you're talking products, you get me excited. You know, that's my thing. Now, we know in the value chain of having a business or having an initiative which is product related, there's the issue about taking it from the lab or from the kitchen and now into the people's mouths, right? How are you currently promoting this? I know you have some tasting shows, and I know yesterday you were out, but what other initiatives are you making noise about these beautiful products so that people start embracing them?
You know what? Remember, let's start from the beginning. If you are now talking indigenous foods, that's where the negative perception starts. Interesting enough, when we go around doing our food exhibition, that is where we also create awareness about the indigenous foods and their healthiness and nutrition. Now you start seeing the facial expressions when you start mentioning, for example, imbuya, amaranthus. People did not believe that you can make something out of imbuya. For them, they still remember that imbuya that they used to eat it as a relish with uputu or ibaba. Now, this is where we are saying, can we bring a different dynamic so that people can understand it better? However, we are doing this carefully so, because we do not want, we do not support the fact that every good thing that is healthy, it's only enjoyed by a certain population or a certain socio-economic class. Now, what we are trying to do, we are trying to make products that can be consumed even by the vulnerable groups, but these products should also be tasty and be served with dignity. That is where we are starting at the household level, because we have realized that in our country, national words, we are food secure. So why should we be bothering? Let us now deal with the problem that we are faced with, which is the household as well as the individual level. So the food products that we are developing, they are more for just a social class, that is the middle class, as well as the lower class. So these foods are highly nutritious, and we want to feed this class before we can actually consider the upper class. So we are going around. We do food innovation, but our food exhibition is not just a show. It is also about education.
Oh, wow. That is so beautiful. I'm aware that you're doing tasting sessions and you know, they always are a hit because people, honestly, they are yearning for those kind of things. Everyone wants those comfort foods that they know from home. We just need to find a way of packaging them and making them more interesting so that people can start to appreciate what they have. You know, Prof, I told you before we started that when you start having a good conversation, time just flies out of the window and we only have an hour. I so wish we could extend because there is still so much that we need to unpack, especially when we're talking food and nutrition security. But in any case, I know a lot of people have celebrated you. What are some of the accolades that you've been awarded over the past years for this beautiful work that you're doing?
Maybe before we get to that, I'm going to get into trouble, but we've got, maybe we can give a premix flour of amaranthus to 5 of your audience. I don't know how you're going to do it, but you can send the names and the addresses, and we can courier, and then they can test, and then they can give us feedback. So 5.
Wow. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
You can taste the BUMNANDI BEMVELO, and you become part of, you know what is really going on. We are not just about talk. All right. One of the, let me say, the university actually did well early, I think about 2018 or 17. They awarded me the distinguished category in teaching and learning. That was the VC Excellent Award. So I managed to win that. And the second award is from last year. We have been the first winners of the Community Engagement Awards, which is also is offered by our VC during her Excellent Awards. So I think this one is quite special to me, the community engagement one, because it's actually my principle to say we cannot keep on stealing from our communities. When we are doing the work, especially as researchers, we need to give back to our communities. So all these initiatives, such as Nare Foundation, as Linzwa Foundation, they are part of this holistic approach that we are trying to develop to showcase that it doesn't have to be one-sided, where we only publish and become professors who don't go back and plow back to the communities. So we are using everything that is within our hands to actually say, we recognize your community. You are the scientists, and we are where we are because of you. So that was the most precious award that I've received, because for me, it was like, I am on the right track with my people. Yes.
Oh, wow. It's so beautiful chatting to you and seeing the passion. Ladies and gentlemen, the show is the African Experience with myself, Mandla Wakamabunda, and I'm chatting to a powerhouse, a passionate woman, a woman who's got the black child in her heart. You can see that really she takes pride in indigenous foods, in who she is as an African. And that is so beautiful to see. Remember, the objective is that we can just touch one life who's listening to us, someone who will be inspired and glean from what the professor has just talked us through, and then go and make a difference in their lives. Remember what she said, we go back to the community because they make us who we are. And what I also love is that we are only not about talking, but now we are bringing out products. We are also delivering, which is a good shift from what we know academia as. We write books, we publish, like you said, but we never link it up to now product development. It's a nice and beautiful switch and shift to see in the space. Prof, you have done a lot and you are young. Now, what does the future look like? I know I'm going to ask you the question that they asked you in that interview, but we want to know, what does 10 years, 5 years look like for you?
I want to be a businesswoman.
And you are already.
Now, it's quite interesting because I took that box. I became a businesswoman. I once owned a salon, and you know what? With my friend, we were like, okay, let's go for it. And that was 5 years. And I was like, 5 years, that's something. I've done it. I've ticked the box. And then now I'm doing that other kind of entrepreneurship. Yes. Just to be honest, when it comes to what is it that I would like to see, let me just share. I would like to start seeing companies that are actually developed and created by the African people. I want to see a company that is supplied by our own smallholder farmers, Mark. The smallholder farmers, they need to be channeled so that we can be able to now change the status quo of now saying 70 to 80% of the contributors to food security are smallholder farmers. The cliche that comes with that very same sentence is that 70 and 80% of those smallholder farmers, they are on the side of being food and nutrition insecure. So for me, it's about changing the status quo. Can we start having our own companies that are supplied by this, which is now going to be contributing towards the food systems that the government is currently talking about? But let us build our local food systems where we establish the food hubs that are going to be supplied, managed, and coordinated by our people. For me, I will be happy when I start seeing Mandra's products actually from Masana going to those shelves, and our people start buying them, and where we embrace them as the products that are special. Because really, in South Africa, do we have organic foods? We really don't have organic foods, but we have specially grown and prepared and processed foods. Yes, we can. And these are the foods that are going to keep us going. And remember, when people are sick, we are affecting the economy of the country because we are investing resources to now make sure that these people, they get a medication, they get treatment. But if now we start instilling the culture of eating healthy and living a healthy life while they are still young, I am telling you, we will go a long way. A friend of mine has a gogo now who is 120 years old in Limpopo because of really eating that traditional food. As a result, we said, can you please ask Gogo to document what is it that she has done that kept her so well? She can still talk. While, yes, the body cannot do anything, but she still thinks right. So let's go back to our tradition, because there's its own restrictions, but it's good. Thank you so much.
Wow, it's so beautiful, Prof. Thank you so much for those insights. Thank you so much for bringing your all, your passion. I see one of your pull hair up colleagues here. Miss Karima Palmer. She's saying, well done, Prof. We at UniZulu Consumer Science are very proud of you. So you know what? Your work Never ever think your work is not appreciated. We see it. We've got listeners even from Ghana listening to you, and they're sending WhatsApp. Some of them, I'm like, this is a powerhouse. Everyone is saying that. And Mark again is saying Unathi should commercialize goat milk. Have you had that conversation
Yes.
with
No,
with
actually, Karina she did her PhD on goat meat, and we've
oh
got
wow.
who's also a master student who's also working on goat meat. So, Mark,
Mhm.
yes, we tick the box. Goat meat is also coming to
Definitely.
the commercial space. Yes.
Oh wow. I'm actually very happy to be part of this group. I think something is happening. I'm telling you, something is happening. We just need to keep at it and keep preaching the same gospel until the turnaround is there and people really
Yes.
are proud of who they are. Prof, we are almost at the end of our show. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for granting us this opportunity to actually get to learn more about you as a person, about you as a professor, about you as a head of department, and about you as a social entrepreneur. One can see that you are really passionate about what you're doing, and really we want to see you grow more and more. So I'm with Mark there. We should commercialize all this indigenous products. Good people, it was a lovely show, and you've heard those that want the flower from Prof. I need you to send your names. First come, first serve. DJ
Yes.
Mercy, our producer, will take down your details and she will send that to our beautiful Prof. And then you receive your gift. That is so, so, so beautiful. Now, Prof, if someone wants to order the biscuits, they want to order the amararask, they want to order the amaranthus leaves powder, whatever shakes you have, all those innovations, how do they get hold of you?
For now, they can just write to my email, Kolanisi. Kolanisi is my surname and my initial U at unizulu.ac.za. We are working on a website where we can be able to take orders. So it's work in progress. By maybe end of the month or next month, we'll be able to access it. But for the time being, please get me on that kolanisiu at unizulu.ac.za.
Yo, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot thank you enough, Prof. And I know yesterday it was Heritage Day. What did you do?
Oh my goodness, it was quite interesting. I was a judge with yes at a junior maestro chef, which is a collaboration between Linzwa Foundation. Can you hear? Linzwa
Yes.
Foundation and Hospitality Management, and as well as at the Boardwalk, which is our mall in Richards Bay. So we were also promoting healthy eating, instilling that culture and the principles. In our young people, there was a group between 9 to 14 and 15 and to 16 years old. So they were busy cooking there. I enjoyed myself. But on Friday, I was with the Department of Social Development in Pretoria, where I actually saw that indeed traditional foods are the way to go. The Tsonga people, they
Yeah.
showcased the meal plan, breakfast, lunch, and supper. Aye, people, let's go back. Emma Sisweni, we've got this.
Wow, those are my people, by the way, Prof. Woohoo! So I'm very happy
Aye,
about that. But
ngiyabonga,
anyway,
ngiyabonga.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I have personally learned a lot, and I hope someone out there is inspired to go and make a difference. I mean, let's start with the food that we eat. Let's claim that space. It's our food, it's our health. Let's go back to Amasiko Wetu. Thank you again, Prof. Before you go, what is it that you want to tell your listeners or anyone who's listening to you, the audience out there? We have what we call parting shot. What is your parting shot before you say goodbye?
Your yesterday does not determine your tomorrow. So please don't look back and say, I cannot do it. You can actually do it. So if you fall, stand up, brush up yourself, and then move again. As long as you believe in yourself and you know what you want, try to identify your purpose early in life. That is the principle that will never, never go wrong. So for me, know who you are, but you can never know who you are if you don't recognize and respect your past, because your past forms a foundation. And don't forever forget God. Thank you so much.
Wow. Wow. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing for me to add there. I'm saying to you, next week, same place, same time, we are bringing yet another African experience focused topic. Let's share, let's learn, and let's empower one another. Thank you so much, and God bless. Goodbye. Thank you, Prof.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
Streaming 24/7. 24/7.
Bold Moves Radio.
Bold Moves Radio.
Afrika nakupenda sana, oh Afrika nakupenda sana.